Welcome to the Jay and Bryant Show, the fastest growing real estate finance podcast in America. Today's show is brought to you by MyCityLender. Here now, Jay and Bryant.
The Jay and Bryant Show.
We're back.
Back on the air, Jay.
It's exciting.
How about this?
I know. Here we are.
Here we are. But there's something different.
But familiar.
This time. But familiar.
Yep.
But familiar. What's changed?
What's changed? Well,
I mean, we're on the same set.
A lot has changed, but we are MyCityLender.
We are officially...
We have ventured out on our own.
MyCityLender.
We are entirely independent, and it feels great.
We are our own broker.
Yep.
Helping families with the same service. There's been absolutely no disruption or change in the service at all, but now with amazing value.
Yep. Yep. We have a lot of, I think there's a lot of value that we offer now that before it was, it kind of felt like we were being a little held back. So, yeah. Now I feel like the doors are wide open, and being that we're independent, we have the ability to just, I think we really can expand.
Well, and it's kind of rare in this market, I think, to have the combination that we now have, having created, recreated, relaunched, because this is MyCityLender 2.0.
I know.
Reality. I was awesome when I got into this business 10 years ago. When you brought me in, it was MyCityLender, and
here we are again.
It evolved, and but now we're a fully independent.
And look
broker.
at what we've learned.
A huge amount.
In the last, so it's been about 9 years or so.
We've learned how to
shelf.
We've learned how to be a really great mortgage group with all of our people, and now we get to envision our own company and build it and put our own imprint on the mortgage business and the housing market.
That could be the best
families.
part. That could be the best part.
That's my favorite part about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's feeling like we have the ability to have a different kind of impact on families because this is our company.
And that was my next question. So what does this really mean for our customers? Well,
there's several things that like big deal that have changed in terms of where we are now as a new company and what we're able to do. And I think I was going to say earlier, it's super rare in this housing market, in this day and age, to have a mortgage company that has amazing service, and there's not been any lapse in our service, right?
None.
We're funding loans, but speed. Okay, so we've picked up an efficiency that might not have been fully formed before, but now we just have tremendous efficiency. You just closed a loan from receiving the contract to documents to title, 8 days.
8 days. That was 8 calendar days.
Yeah.
And that included a weekend.
It was kind of unthinkable.
It really was.
A month ago, right?
It really was.
Yeah, but here we are. Value. So that's the big one, right? So we're able to still provide the same amazing service. We're able to be really, really fast, but we're also able to do it at a tremendous value, offering our customers super competitive rates, very low fees.
Yeah. So I was talking to I was at a party over the weekend, and we were talking about, what makes this so great and why is it so different? Mm-hmm. And as soon as I was, as we were kind of talking about some of the early stuff, I just said, imagine, if you still have that person that you can really rely on, a real person, and somebody that you can call, text, somebody that's available, somebody that cares, but you're still going to have an interest rate that is maybe ahead of what you could expect to get in the market.
Yep.
And I don't have to charge you fees.
And you're still answering your phone at 5 or 6 o'clock. It doesn't turn off because you're there for the people.
And so what one of the guys was saying to me was, he's like, I need to have somebody that I can call, somebody just like you that I can rely on. I'm not interested in the online experience. I'm not interested in being a number. I just want somebody I can call, and somebody that I know I can trust, and somebody that I can rely on.
Yeah.
And he's like, and so for that reason, if you guys are going to be able to offer that value where, I let's say don't necessarily have to shop because you're going to shop it for me. Yep. He's like, then we've got the best of both worlds.
And one of our company pillars, our mantra, however you want to call it, is we're kind of flipping the script, where it seems like where most mortgage companies have gone these days, it's about the numbers. It's how many units have you closed, how many calls have you made, and all these different things, and it loses the importance of the work, right? From an internal motivation standpoint, to build a team that's excited to actually go help families. We've developed, and we're going to approach this from the perspective of how many families have you helped this week, not how many
totally.
how many loans have you closed, right?
Totally changes our purpose.
How many people have we helped? Have we provided a really awesome personal experience for?
Yep. And I think as we move forward, we already had a lot of really, I would say, raving fans as customers.
Yep.
And you can see that in the testimonials, you can see that in the reviews, but now I think it's just it's just going to blow the roof off of what we were doing before.
Our partners are excited because of the efficiency and how nimble we are now. Wider lending box. There's a lot more loan programs that we have access to.
Yep.
We have direct access to all of the investors. So being able to communicate directly with underwriting and solve problems and really get things done.
And we opened up a whole new product line too. So there's some things too that I would say prior that we wouldn't have necessarily pursued.
Right.
As far as
home equity loans.
Home equity, even just second mortgages in general, it was something that it was maybe possible, but we wouldn't really pursue it.
Right.
Or necessarily promote it just because of the way that it was, and it maybe was cumbersome, the process or whatever the situation was.
Yeah.
Now we can promote
Having
them.
direct access to these investors gives us that ability.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool, I'm just going to plug that one program because so many people out there did take advantage of the refi boom and have very, very low, great interest rates on their first mortgages, but they have all this equity. Maybe they want to consolidate some debt. Maybe they want to pay some college expenses for their kids or deferred maintenance. I mean, the list goes on and on. And you have all this equity, but you don't want to mess with your 2%.
No.
I mean,
how can you?
Who wants to do that?
Nobody.
Right. So
nobody.
So now we can do a home equity loan, a second, to not affect that first rate and help them access their equity to take care of these other financial goals that they have.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. And there's other products too that we have available now that I would say maybe we're a little more limited as we had them before. Jumbos being one of those scenarios that same kind of thing where we did a lot of jumbo loans, but we didn't do, it was limited to who we could send those jumbos to. And so now we've got a wider array of different investors that we can do these portfolio jumbo loans with that we didn't necessarily have access to before. So,
and not only jumbos, but out of the box type of loans. So,
foreign nationals. I was looking at foreign nationals.
Borrowers who might have challenges in their credit, or we can do what are called non-QM loans they're not your typical Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie loans that we do in most part, but they're alternatives for people to help them that might have assets to be able to put down and complete the loan, but maybe they're
and primarily those are for self-employed
borrowers.
And the foreign nationals would be, even like a Canadian national or Mexican national that is looking to purchase property here in the U.S.
Right.
We have this product that we have available to us now that we didn't necessarily maybe promote because of what we had as far as limitations there. So we do have multiple options for these customers now that, so now we're able to work in those different areas that we wouldn't have necessarily even pursued before.
Let's talk about the technology real quick that we now have access to being an independent broker from the customer standpoint. So we have this amazing origination platform that includes a client portal where they're able to log in really easily and efficiently and complete their application. And it allows us to complete pre-qualifications on the fly. It even has built-in ability for our customers and our agents to go in and update pre-approval letter information based on the parameters that we've set for the pre-qualification.
Yeah.
But without, if we happen to be, if I'm in line at Disneyland with my kids, and our customer wants to.
I love that idea, by the way.
It's a great idea, right? I mean, think about that. You're in line at Disneyland, where you should be occasionally with your kids, because let's face it, family time is super, super important. And you don't, you can't get your computer out and update a pre-qualification. Well, now our customers and agents have the ability to go in there and update it within the confines of the pre-qualification.
And the technology is amazing.
It's super
really
slick.
And one would think that in the wholesale arena that we would have limitations as far as that goes. And I've been just blown away with the technology that's available to the broker channel. That with what we had been used to for the last 9 years in retail, is like a it's like a 2004 Chevy Malibu with the ground effects and the lights and a spoiler and that kind of thing. They just keep kind of doctoring the thing up and repainting it.
Yeah.
And we have access to this technology that's like 2022 build. And it's mind blowing daily.
Yeah.
I come in and I'm wondering like, why, like, how could this not be available to the retail lending channel and all the loan officers that are working within this clunky software that it's just everybody has to use because that's what we have access to.
And the ultra efficient bridge that's there now between our customer system and the investors that we're directly working with, it's seamless. It really is. It's just we set up the loan and boom, we send it over and our investor.
I feel like that's like our recruiting plug.
I like it.
It's like we really are. It's the technology's really helped us make our job so much easier and on the day to day and what we're having to do and how we have to operate. It allows us to spend more time doing things like this where, instead of spending 20 to 25, maybe 30 minutes doing loan proposals that take minutes now to produce.
Well, not only 30 minutes to put together a loan proposal, but now it's much cleaner. It's much more professionally presentable and much easier to understand for our customers. I think that's probably the most important thing is we want because there's so many numbers and every loan is like a fingerprint. Everybody has a different set of circumstances and goals and needs. And so being able to really quickly and efficiently create a beautiful presentation that tells the customer, shows them all of the important information, gives them a great idea of exactly what the loan's going to look like, and just gives them that confidence to move forward.
I know, it's just amazing. It's
pretty awesome.
Yep. So moving forward, there's a lot of changes.
Yes.
Things are changing. Obviously, things have changed with us. Things are changing all around us. Things are changing in our market.
Let's before we get to the market, which I think a lot of people listening want to hear about that and they want to know our thoughts because we're in the mortgage business, but let's quickly talk about the Jay and Bryant show.
Okay.
So what does this mean? What does this change mean for the Jay and Bryant show?
Well, I think we're going to start to, as you're going to see with this episode, we're going to really start to turn this into more of a true podcast and less about the video presentation of it.
Yep.
So you're going to see the style of it change. We're also going to be looking at some on location type settings to kind of change what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But you're going to see some different formatting moving forward, this being included in that. So
we could have, one of our whys we could have mentioned earlier is the creative outlet that we feel we now have by running our own company.
Absolutely. Absolutely different.
and how it directly translates to the Jay and Bryant show. How we wanted to originally be a conversation about the market, about life, about whatever. We're going to have guests on for sure going forward.
Be looking for contests. We're going to be doing some contests and giveaways. Well. I don't want to give that away at this point, but we're definitely going to be doing some giveaways and contests. So for all of our loyal fans and viewers and listeners, definitely stay tuned for what's going to be coming with that.
Absolutely.
So
let's talk about the market because that's people are starting to hear chatter about bubble. A la 2009. I don't think that's necessarily founded, but what do you think?
Well, so there's no surprise, no shocker. We're seeing interest rates at an all-time high. Yep. We haven't seen interest rates look like this for many, many years.
Yep.
Having interest rates again for the 30-year fixed conventional purchase or refinance loan in the mid to high fives. It's difficult for people to really wrap their heads around. When Christmas time, first of the year, we were still looking at rates in the high twos, low threes. Mm-hmm. So
I still when the conversation of rates comes up and it's so easy to look at today's average rate coast to coast is for 30 years 5.3. It's so easy to look at that and go, oh my gosh, it's doubled. It's like, it's blown up into this.
I'm never going to be able to afford anything.
Interest rate, when you're looking at it compared to your, 1.75 15 year that you refied into, a couple of years ago or low twos on your 30 year. That's understandable. Again, that's where taking out a home equity loan comes in and having that ability. But I always think back when the interest rates comes up about conversations I've had with my dad over the years. I mean, my parents bought our first family home in 1977 is when they closed on it. And that family home, by the way, so $135,000, 5-bedroom postage stamp.
1977,
This is
$135,000
in Southern California, Westlake Village. $135,000, about 3,500 square foot house, 2-story house, and their interest rate, their first interest rate was like 16.9% or 17 point something percent.
Oh my gosh!
This was in the late 70s. So,
and back then you still had to put 20% down.
At least, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They hadn't really come out with the 3%, 5% down payment assistance. Those programs weren't a thing yet. But yeah, so you have to look at everything from more of a sort of global perspective, but affordability, I mean, that's what's on everybody's mind ultimately, right? So you mentioned it earlier, record high interest rates, or not record high, but in a long
10-year
time,
highs,
15-year highs. And then home values are
also
been going up and up for the last couple of years. Also at
record highs.
It's because of supply issues, not very many homes or quite a bit fewer homes available for sale. And those two things equate to definitely exhaustion, and it only kind of tips the scale a little bit when rates go up. But I don't know. I think it's probably, this might be a controversial statement, Jay, but
it may be.
I think it's good for everybody in the long run for rates to continue to just push up a little. We don't want them to go crazy, and I think.
And why do you feel that way?
Well, I think that it'll calm down the housing market, so you'll see homes take a little bit longer to sell. I mean,
we are starting to see that.
God forbid you don't get a full cash over asking price offer within 24 hours of going live. We've all kind of gotten accustomed to that, and there's still definitely a lot of competition out there today. There's still absolutely a lot of demand for homes, which is why values are continuing.
But it seems like homes they're sitting on the market a little bit longer. Yeah. And I saw even just in the last week and a half or so, maybe 10 days or so, that there are several thousand new listings that hit Maricopa County.
Yep.
So I think that's going to start to change the landscape of what we see,
right,
as far as how long these homes are available. And then, if people are going to have to compete with multiple offers and multiple bids and, bidding the properties up beyond the list price and all this stuff, it'll be interesting to see what happens maybe in June and July this year.
And it's very interesting in our market because, as we know, traditionally there have been two primary reasons why. In Arizona, it continues to be, I don't know what the right word is here, transitory. People move here from very diverse.
Yes, it's like a melting pot here.
People move from all over the country, and the traditional reasons why, there's two of them, is affordability and climate, right? So we've always been a lot more affordable compared to the really high rent districts, I like to call them, on the coast, where home values have been going up a lot, before our market picked up. But now you have people leaving different areas, maybe for political reasons, maybe for ideology reasons. These things conspire, and then you have a healthy business environment here in.
We've
Arizona,
got all these
Phoenix.
companies relocating here.
Technology, you have Intel building up.
Even Facebook is coming here.
All of this to me, and very low unemployment in our area. To me, that really points to a pretty firm foundation for values. I think we definitely start seeing some slowing as rates continue to creep up, and the combination of rates and affordability starting to come into question, especially for first-time home buyers and then younger families who are hoping to trade up because their family's expanding and they need more space. This market's been very difficult on those folks, but I think we'll see some calming. Supply will come back up. We'll see more homes available. People will be able to take more time, and I think my feeling is, and I'm no expert here, I'm no psychological expert by any means, but as people feel more comfortable, just this idea of I'm more comfortable getting out in the market to search for a home because I'm going to have more choices. I'm not going to have to make an offer right on the spot. I'm going to be able to think about it, do some numbers, make sure it's in the best interest of my family. I think we're going to find that our level of business, we're going to find more families and individuals coming back to us to buy a home now because they can be more confident that they're getting the right home.
I love that's the perfect word. It's the perfect word. And I think that's what everyone is kind of searching for and has been for the last couple of years, is this confidence that, it may, in the last couple of years, maybe a false sense of confidence with, in regards to employment and, even people looking to relocate, do they really feel good about what they're doing? And do they really feel confident in what they're doing and how they're doing it, where they're going and where they're working and all the stuff that I think there's just been so much up in the air the last couple of years. And I'm hoping that we're going to see that come back into this marketplace.
Yeah. And there is chatter out there. There are experts that are predicting not just a leveling off of values, but perhaps a little bit of a correction and perhaps an economic recession, which is a much bigger complex issue that will definitely obviously affect the housing market. And first of all, it affects people's employment, which then has a direct impact on the housing market. With all the equity out there, it's hard to imagine that there's this glut of foreclosures. Although, as we know, foreclosures are really a result of folks not being able to pay their mortgage. Whether or not they have equity is not.
Well, we're still really short of supply. So even if we had a lot of foreclosures enter the market as homes available for sale, we'd still be in great shape as far as a market. It would just become more balanced. Even if we had 7,000 to 10,000 more homes come available, even if they were foreclosures, we would still be in a healthier real estate market than we currently are. So instead of being just, so under supplied at this point, we would just be on our way to a healthier real estate market than we are currently. So with 1,000 or with several thousand new homes coming available, I think it's going to help maybe give us a little reprieve right now. But like you said, we still have
a net three. The figure I saw recently, and I'm trying to remember where I saw it. It's the website we love, Mortgage News Daily. There happened to be an article not too long ago, maybe a week ago, on where people are migrating to in the United States. So like the cities where people are moving to the most, or the states, I guess. And Arizona's seeing a net 300 per day of people moving to the Phoenix area. Obviously is getting the most of them. But and they're moving from all over the country. We're still kind of that landing zone, the LZ, the great LZ.
We're like the new Silicon Valley, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, they're calling
tech companies and
they're calling Chandler the next Silicon Valley or something crazy like that. But
that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and here we are
in
Chandler, Arizona,
in a really cool position, I think, to help many more families. And
I believe at this point we're in the best position. We have the best positioning that we could possibly have at this point to be in real estate finance in East Valley in Arizona. It's pretty amazing.
Yep. So looking forward to growing as we help more and more families, and growing the Jay and Bryant Show as a podcast, as a real bona fide podcast at this point. Again, with guests, contests, lots of
coming.
Fun.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff. So
maybe some on
before
location,
we go,
maybe some on location stuff.
On location, that would be great. Yeah. Before we go, what would your advice be for first-time home buyers?
That is a great question. That's a loaded question.
Because I'm sure we have a lot of them listening to our show.
I be patient would be my number one piece of advice. You're young. You've got a lot of time to build your real estate portfolio. I 100% encourage you to get into home ownership as early as you can, because it really is a super important part of your overall wealth building over time. My favorite analogy is to say you buy a house for $500,000 today, and let's face it, starter homes are starting to push up in the 300-400
really
plus
are.
range.
Yep.
But you buy that house for $500,000 today, and over the next 30 years, it does not appreciate one dime. So 30 years from now, and it's paid off 30 years from now, you have if it hasn't appreciated even one dime, you still have $500,000 of equity, of potential wealth sitting there. I say potential because if you still own it, you haven't sold it. It's on paper. But even if you factor in $100,000 in maintenance over that time, and maybe even more, you're still ahead of compared to if you have been renting all these years. Now,
and you still have to live somewhere.
Now, nobody could ever guarantee what the market's going to do, what home values are going to do, but history has shown, and the data has shown over time, that over a 30-year period, it's very likely that your home is going to appreciate at least a small amount.
Well, look at your parents' situation.
Yeah. So
perfect example. So what did that house sell for?
$135,000 in 1977. They sold it for $1.2 in
$1 million.
2017.
$1.2
2017.
million.
1.2 million. My dad called me the other day.
So I was going to say, what do you think that's worth
He goes,
today?
have you seen what it's worth now? And I said, is that really relevant? Because you got to move close to my family and your two daughters' families. But yes, I have seen it, Dad.
So
It's
what's it
crazy.
worth now?
1.7.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah,
And they sold it in 2017?
2017, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
July of 2017. So
Pretty amazing.
yeah, coming up on 5 years already.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
And what else can you invest in with that kind of return? Really?
Yeah. I
Really?
mean,
And you have to live somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to live somewhere. So it's like, you might as well, invest in where you're living, and, it's, how do you lose?
On the other side of it, they're I love you, Mom and Dad, but they're kind of a cautionary tale at this point, because they moved out here and they, rightfully so, they wanted to just rent for a little bit to get their feet on the ground, figure out where they would want to end up living. And they settled in the Scottsdale area, and it's a great area for them. But they are still renting, and thankfully their property management hasn't raised their rent over the last couple of years, but they are raising it now a lot.
Oh no.
About a 50% jump.
Oh my gosh.
Going from $2,500 a month to $3,500 a month.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Stay tuned.
reasons to get off the rental train are it'll provide you with a lot, even though people always think, oh, I'm going to have to spend money on replacing a roof eventually, or air conditioning systems, or I'm going to have to replace carpet or tiles, or,
You're reminding me of all these things, Brian.
It's all doable, number one, and it's all ultimately much better for you financially to have to go through that. I'm using air quotes right now, because of, again, the wealth building mechanism over time of owning property, of owning a home, compared to the financial uncertainty of being a renter. Is well, maybe it's not uncertain. It's certain your rent's going to go up over time.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. That's certainly certain.
And true, you don't have all of the daily operational headaches. I don't want to call them headaches, because I love being a homeowner. It's not a headache. It's like, this is my home.
That's right.
I get to.
It's the privilege.
I get to go fix my RV gate today.
That's right. The privilege of repainting your garage
I get to
door.
paint that wall.
That's right.
Yeah. What did I got to fix my sprinkler system the other day.
That's right.
And it's awesome now. No more dead spots, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have that on my list of things, many things I need to do.
Well, big thank you to everybody who is listening to our podcast today, who tuned in and stayed to the end. Should we do a contest for people who stayed to the end? What do you think?
Some sort of giveaway.
Okay. How about an Amazon gift card?
Okay. Seems to be the go-to.
Let's say
who doesn't like Amazon?
Let's say $50.
Okay.
And the contest is, how much did my parents pay for our first house, our family house, in 1977?
Sounds good.
Does that work?
Sounds good.
I like it. So, how can they reach out to us? We're relatively new podcasters here. I guess our contact information, of course, was
they will find it.
And of course,
they will find us because we're on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
And you can find us at MyCityLender.com.
Yep.
And all social media platforms at this point. So
if you can find us, $50 on the table for you, Amazon, let's do it.
Yep. Awesome.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome, Jay, as always.
Brian, it was a blast.
We'll be back on the air someday soon, and with some more awesome topical conversations.
All right.
Hopefully some good banter and some guests.
Oh, for sure.
So
thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll take care, everybody. We'll talk to you later.